Hello everyone, and welcome to the Bandit's Den. Now, a lot of you probably thought that I was done with all of these pagan spirituality videos. Of course not. And those of you who have watched Arith Herger per my recommendations, you probably noticed a similarity between my intro and some of his. Yeah, my intro was inspired by him. And Fui Madan is the artist who made the music at the beginning of my video. He said I could use any of his music as I see fit, and I much appreciate that. But today is the first day that really feels like autumn. I could smell it in the air. I could smell it coming even 3 weeks ago. I could feel it lingering over us. And sorry to you who live in parts of the world where there are no seasonal changes, or maybe only slight, barely noticeable seasonal changes. Most of this probably isn't applicable to you. However, I believe you make up a very small minority of people who watch my videos, so most of you will understand what I talk about. You know, what has always baffled me is these New Agers, these neo-pagans that are... they're always happy all the time. Personally, I think it's an act. You don't have to be happy or joyful about everything and anything when you're a pagan. As a matter of fact, it's nice to be able to burn wood in my wood-burning stove again. Of course, by the end of the cold season, I will be absolutely sick of cutting wood. And I will be happy when I don't have to anymore. But there's something nice and cozy about it. I call autumn and winter because I see the seasons as two different seasons. Just two. Autumn and winter are one season, and spring and summer are another. Spring is essentially summer coming back and staving off the winter in order to come save us from its deathly wrath. And then fall is winter coming back to kill summer in order to bring us into an age of famine, an age of death, and an age of discomfort. Because otherwise, if year-round was summer, we would certainly take it for granted. So I see it as two seasons. It's just one overlapping the other. And the overlap parts are spring and fall. So essentially, winter is coming. Winter is taking over right now because it's just about autumn. And today was the first day where you can really feel it in your bones. And I knew this day was coming really soon, so I had a bonfire this last weekend. I had a bonfire that was nice. I told a friend of mine that I was going to have a bonfire, and he kind of invited himself over, which I did appreciate. I appreciated that very much because he gave me company while I was hanging out outside, burning stuff. But the purpose of that bonfire, and unbeknownst to him, I did make offerings to the gods into the fire. But you know, the whole purpose was to welcome this change. Even though some aspects of it I don't like, we have to accept these things in life, right? There are some things that we just don't really like very much, but we have to accept as a part of life. And the way I saw it, my bonfire was kind of like a welcoming party for this new season. Instead of fighting it, I tried welcoming it. You know, like I said, it is nice to burn. It's nice and cozy in here right now. You guys may have noticed I'm not wearing a wife beater. It's a little bit too chilly for that in here right now. But it is comfortable in a t-shirt. Because it's supposed to be 45 degrees out tonight. You know, but I call winter the coming of autumn and it becoming winter. I call this two things, both the age of fire and the age of death. So one reason why I like it is because it's the age of fire. Fire is probably my favorite element of the five. I mean, that's why I burn that TV, right? Because what better way to destroy something than to light it on fire? It's cinematic, it's beautiful. And I think humans have an affinity to fire because ever since we developed the intelligence to use tools and alter our surroundings in order to enhance our survival capabilities, we've been using fire as one of the tools. And I call it a tool because, I mean, look at everything. We burn stuff to generate electricity. We burn stuff to make things move at very high speeds. We burn things to warm our houses in winter so we don't freeze to death. So that's one thing I like about it is my ability to use fire to heat my house and cook with. And in summer, because I have a gas stove, it doesn't heat my house as much as my wood-burning stove, but it certainly does really heat up the kitchen. And so in summer, it's pretty uncomfortable to cook. I don't even feel like eating after I cook because it's so hot. But I do anyways. But in winter, my wood-burning stove is fantastic. I can burn stuff in it to heat my house and at the same time cook on it. And it keeps the house nice and comfortable. It's not too hot because it's cold outside, right? So it's enjoyable to cook during winter. You know, but the part I don't like as much, but it's part of life, is it's the age of death. Everything outside is going to die. But death allows an opportunity for a new beginning. I mean, my garden became a sham at the end of this season because I've been working so much. I didn't have the time to tend my garden. So the squash bugs overtook my butternut squash. I only ended up harvesting something like 20 butternut squash this year, even though they took over half of my yard. All my other plants are dried out. They're suffering, wishing for water, and a bunch of nightshade took over my yard, which I don't very much appreciate because it's thorny, and I don't use nightshade like some people do for ceremonial purposes. So to me, it's just a weed. So, you know, that's one good thing about the age of death coming, is that my garden will get reset. And maybe I can try better next year. as long as I don't have to work too damn much. But it must bring a certain feeling to me, because my ancestors and your ancestors relied more on the very land that they lived on for survival. And winter is kind of a scary time because our ancestors' crops would die off. Right now is the harvest season. Before it gets too damn cold and spoils your food that's growing, it's a good time to harvest it, let it dry out, or store it in a root cellar so that you can enjoy the bounty of your land throughout winter. And really, winter is the test of whether or not you prepared well enough. It's the test of your hardiness, the test of how well you did during the warmer part of the year. Because everything is going to die, this is your one shot. You need to harvest everything and see how well you fare. Because if you didn't get enough stuff, you're going to have to kill some animals maybe you don't want to have to kill out of the goats or sheep or chickens, whatever you have. You might have to kill some extra animals you don't want to kill in order to survive. Or hell, you might have to starve and lose some weight. And other than staying warm, I suppose that's another reason why it's just natural for me to gain as much weight as possible before winter, and then I kind of fast a lot during winter. I mean, my weight fluctuates by about 20 pounds all throughout the year. I'll gain 20 pounds in the warmer seasons, and I'll shed 20 pounds by the end of winter. But because it's the age of death, it's also a time where you're forced. Your hand is forced, unless you want to be outside and uncomfortable all the time. You have to change your own routines. You can't go outside and play frisbee all night. The sun sets earlier. Night comes sooner. The day is shorter. And so the season essentially forces you to change your behaviors. You spend more time indoors. You spend more time reflecting, hopefully, instead of squandering your time. And so, because it's the age of death, it's also a time for you to reflect on things that you did throughout the year. Did you do this right? Did you do that wrong? And sitting there being reflective, you need to decide what you did right, what you did wrong, and how you're going to change for the better from henceforth. Now that your behaviors have been forced to change, now that your habits, a lot of your habits have been forced to change, what are better habits that you can adopt? Now, of course, Hazel hasn't joined me in this video. I think she's a bit young to fully grasp what I mean by some of this stuff. And I don't think she's really into this stuff anyways. She's fine with me thinking this way, but she prefers to not be so complicated, I suppose. Not be so pensive. So anyways, yeah, that's just about what it all means to me. It's a time of change, the age of fire, the age of death. The old is going to die now, and that'll give us opportunities to usher in some new things. Anyways, happy new winter, happy age of fire, happy age of death. You don't have to be happy about it anyways. That's just a figure of speech. I'm certainly not ecstatic about it. It's exciting that there's a change, but I also know that there's going to be a lot of pain involved because I work outside, as you guys know. I work construction where there is no heating or cooling. It's going to be nice to not sweat so much, but it's also going to be not so nice trying to thread a nut onto something when my fingers feel like they're going to explode because they're frozen. So I'm aware I have a great deal of pain coming up. This is like I'm about to go through boot camp or something. I know suffering is coming, but I also know I'm going to do my best to live through it, learn from it, and hopefully grow from it. And I hope you guys do too. Anyways, thanks for joining me on this, I guess, somber talk. It's not very happy or funny, but we can't be happy and funny all the time. Because if we were happy and funny all the time, then we would just be. That would just be how we are. Instead of it being a treat once in a while. You know, we also have to be somber. We need a variety in life. Just like a lot of you know, my opinion about suffering. Suffering is necessary. You have to experience suffering in your life. That's why some of these people born into well-off families who never have to really suffer that much are some of the most fucked up people on this planet. Because they don't know what it's like to freeze their ass off and eat out of a dumpster. They don't know what it's like to live in a car that only has half a roof while it's raining toward the end of winter. They don't know what it's like to sleep outside in winter and suffer like that. And so how could they possibly appreciate what they do have? You know, I'm fortunate that I've been able to experience a great deal of suffering in my time. But I'm also fortunate that I get to experience future suffering. Hopefully suffering that's not of my own making. Though sometimes I do bring some suffering onto myself. Through mistakes and whatnot. But suffering is necessary for me to appreciate pleasure. If I didn't get to suffer for 8 or more hours every day, then it would mean less coming home to Hazel, taking a shower, and cuddling with her. It would mean a lot less to me. It wouldn't be as pleasurable without the contrast in my life. So anyways, not too happy about winter coming. But I am happy that it gives me a variety in life. Like I told my friend, who is a Christian, I asked him, is there suffering in heaven? And he said, no, there is absolutely no suffering. So you don't get hungry in heaven? No, he said, you don't get hungry. You don't get tired in heaven? No, you don't get tired. Those are all forms of suffering. You don't get sexually frustrated in heaven either, I suppose. So I told him, well, I would rather go to hell, because it would be awfully boring to spend an eternity in a place that has absolutely no suffering. I would just be existing. It would be extremely boring to just experience pleasure constantly. I would ultimately end up taking it for granted, and that would just be my existence, and it would be monotonous without suffering. How can I enjoy a big fat pot of really tasty beans if I wasn't famished before I started digging into it? How could I enjoy a beautiful woman's body if I hadn't been sexually frustrated before, if I had no desire for the flesh? How could I enjoy a good night's sleep if I didn't endure a difficult, tiring day before I laid my head down to rest? Well, I couldn't. So anyways, like I said, I'm not happy about it, but this is a necessary time. The age that is coming. It's necessary for changes, and it's necessary to give context for the times that I enjoy more. So thank you for joining me on this video. I hope you guys don't go cry about it. I don't see why you would, though. Everything's gonna be okay, guys. It's gonna be alright. Everything is gonna be just fine. Even if you die. I mean, at least you won't have to worry about anything anymore. Am I right? But me, of course, I plan on persevering, staying as comfortable as possible, and enduring what suffering I have to endure this winter, and getting through it, and coming out a stronger and better person as a result. And I hope you all do as well, and get out of whatever shit you're dealing with right now, and emerge from it a happy, joyous, and free person. Because you all deserve that. Anyways, until next time, I'll catch you guys eventually. Peace.